Senidika, Hinabeka, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miaro, Miara, Ejumeidia, Hinabeye, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miaro, Miara, Obreitibo, Hinabebo, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miaro, Miara, Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Aseni miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Obrai besini kwenwa miara. Miara. Endo miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Aseni miara. Aseni kwenwa miara. Obrai besini kwenwa miara. Miara. Endo miara. Senidika, Hinabeka, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miaro, Miara, Ejumeidia, Hinabeye, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miaro, Miara, Obreitibo, Hinabebo, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miaro, Miara, Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Aseni miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Obrai besini kwenwa miara. Miara. Endo miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Aseni miara. Aseni besini kwenwa miara. Obrai besini kwenwa miara. Miara. Endo miara. Senidika, Hinabeka, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miara, Ejumeidia, Hinabeye, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miara, Obreitibo, Hinabebo, Miaro, Miara, Endo, Miara.
Good evening, everybody. Marricke Kofi Gane here. I hope you have all had a good week. I have had a good week, and I pray that your weekend has been fantastic. Let me move my mobile keyboard. So thank you for joining me. If you are now joining in, welcome. And do feel free to share the link to this broadcast so that your colleagues and your friends and family can also watch it. I'm just doing that myself on my phone. I'm just doing that on my phone now so that I can stream it live onto my my personal page. So good evening again, and here we go. So I'm just going to share this to my wall. so that everybody on my personal page can also watch. Right. So as I said, I do hope your week has been Professor Kujumbiri, welcome. And Mr. Agbe Quist and Mr. Felix Oseiku for Mr. Felix, I promise you we will be doing for now we're touching a few places just to get the nomination out of the way. And after that, I promise you you will see us in pretty much most places across. How do I share this now? All right. So I'm gonna start a watch party. There we go. That's better. Right. So thank you again for joining me. My name is Marricke Kofi Gane, independent presidential aspirant. Alhaji Sumani Charles, thank you for watching me. This name there. Thank you for joining us. Prince Pra, thank you for joining us. So there's a few things that Roberts Aaron, thank you for joining. Appreciate every single one of you joining. God bless you all. And welcome. And so it's been a hectic week, I'm sure, for you too. And I thank you, everybody. God bless you all for joining it. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I can see your comment and all that. God bless you. Excellent. So, if you're watching, typing something so we know you're watching. Let's know where you're watching from. Yes, Abigail, Ghana does deserve better for sure. I think we're all very accepting of that now. So thank you for spreading the message. Thank you for spreading the word. And today, I would like for us to do a few things. Largely, I'm gonna share. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because, yeah, people complain say me rem too much. I said details no dorsal dodo, and mia haji wagane oba feel few. Right. So we want to still on our manifesto. We want to cover a few things on there, largely in the area of institutional reforms, which is something I have always been very excited about. Is that some things need to change in the way our institutions and laws and everything work, so that we can create some form of society that is easy for everybody to work and make progress. And so institutions form a big part of our society. And if we get the institution right, if they are working right, then they do create a big platform for everyone to be able to work and work well, and expect that if you're putting energy amount A, you are bound to get results B. As it stands now, it is not the case. And you and I will bear witness to that, is that sometimes we all know that we're putting so much of effort, sometimes excess effort, and yet we don't get anything out of the system, out of the society, out of the economy. And yet some people would just pick a phone call, and because of political allegiances and alliances, would be able to, make a dial, and before you know it, they are getting more out of the system than your hard work and your genuinity and your creativity would be able to get you. Tijani Razak. Oh, our manifesto is free online. You can download it. You can download it from our website, which is www.gan4, the number 4. So gan4ghana.com. You should be able to access it and get it from. So somebody, Ellie Claim, who has just commented after you, has responded to that. So there's a lot of people who know where our manifesto is. Exciting. Okay, wishing you all the best, next president. Tijani, thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Wisdom and Dela and Ellie Plim and everybody else, Mr. Charles Hanuman and everybody else. Thank you so much. So, like I said, we want to just touch on a few things. So today, I'm not going to go into the meat and the nitty-gritty of it. I might explain a few ones here and there, but I just want to show you, some people haven't really taken the chance to, read in detail our manifesto. They've been focused on what the big players have, when in fact, it's like the meat pie we buy that it's big, but there's nothing inside. Yes, I said it. But I want to share with you a few things that, in our manifesto, things that I feel would move this country forward. We're always forward thinking, always ahead of the curve, always ahead of the game. And so a few things I want to list. And in fact, some people ask me things and I ask them, have you really read our manifesto? So this is an opportunity to share a few things around institution, around reforms we want to see happen. So one of the big things that we have in here, and you start reading it from page 74. It actually starts from page 72, but I'm covering from page 74. Is that, yes, I do believe in a national long-term development plan to be established, and we do have a national an institution, a unit for that. Except that every government that comes disrupts the institutional knowledge that is acquired by that institution, takes out the old gang and replaces it with their own people. And so every time there's a new government, we seem to go backwards. So yes, I do believe there is a need for a national development plan that will span over a good number of years, ideally over 20 years. But it has to be a living document. It has to be upgraded every 5 years or even 4 years, so it matches the timeline of government. Not by necessarily the government, but by its prevailing institutions, so that it can be updated with modernity. It can grow as the people, as the circumstance, as our environment also grows. So I do believe in the National Development Plan. What I have always said is that it does not mean that political parties and people who want to run for office cannot put new ideas forward. We do need to put new ideas forward so that it becomes a growing process. And my view is that, once the National Development Commission or Planning Committee or whatever we choose to call it, reviews an incoming government's proposals, it can then say, oh, you know what, we already have this in our long-term plan. Or it can say, actually, these two issues you have in your manifesto, they look good and they will be good for this country, but we don't have it in our long-term plan. Shall we include it? And I feel this is a good thing, because it will also ensure, and this is something we have said, that in such a national development plan, there should be projects or programs that we are calling national priority development, NDPs. And once something is labeled as an NDP, which is a national development program, then we can say this is, it's nationally crucial for our country to do this. An example is if we wanted to say we had a program that ensures that we build systematically designed drainages across our big cities, Accra, Kumasi, all over the place in the north. If we decided that was a national priority development project, then once it gets assigned that label, it gets to be backed by law, it gets to be ring-fenced for finances, which means that whatever the case, financing has to be sought for that. Whatever the case, it doesn't matter which government changes hands, that development plan will go ahead. If we did that, it would ensure that over a good number of years, we should be seeing progressive development irrespective of which government comes into office. So I do believe in a national development plan with all these little tweaks to it because it will make it a lot more progressive. And people have asked me what I think about the requirement for the presidency, the age for the presidency. I think I have a surprise in here that I think you should all read. I won't say it because then that will get you to actually read the manifesto. Page 74. I think you should go in there and read what I have to say about the age required for somebody to be able to run for office. I think you should take a look at it. Yes, it'll be controversial, but I think you should still take a look at it. What else do I have? Do we have in here? We also have in here something around. Right. So we have also said this situation where a candidate has to win 50% plus one. We have said that a better consideration, and this is something we need to consider as a country. One of the proposals we are making for us to consider as a country is that we have a situation, and this is something that hopefully would also help solve the problem of winner takes it all, is that we have stated in there very clearly that our proposal is that once the election has run, the biggest party must join hands with others and their percentages to form a coalition government. Tijani wants us to give you a teaser. The teaser is on page 74, the second paragraph, and you'll find it exciting and controversial as well. So do read the manifesto. So we want a situation where we can form coalition governments, governments that ensure that not just one party, but something which is a lot more representative than what we have now. Even though there's an argument that 50 plus 1 makes it representative, but it also is arguable that it shuts down the inputs from other parties or political players who could have supported growing the country. And yes, something we also have in here that I also believe that the requirement in our constitution for the president to necessarily choose 50% plus one of his ministers from parliament is past and gone. I mean, that provision was put in there because, let's be honest, we had a military ruler going into a civilian rule, and he wanted to be able to choose the same people that he had in parliament to also be his ministers out of trust or out of ensuring that he had some level of control. I think that provision has long outlived this purpose. I do believe that parliamentarians should be allowed to focus on their first duty of making laws and proper laws and reviewing old ones and ensuring that the law system or the law grows according to, or the constitution grows according to the expansion or otherwise of our nation. And to allow ministers to be chosen, if the president decides there's somebody in parliament that he wants necessarily to choose, they are allowed to do that, but not force their hands to ensure that that is necessarily the case. And we have a very detailed plan here of seeing the Ghana Police Service be a lot more independent and be a lot more efficient in the way it does its job. I think is very critical to us. Again, I recommend you read that on page 75. I know somebody's going to be saying, now tell us the thing. No, you also need to be, to handle this. We want you to read it. And then yes, we believe that we should have the capability or the possibility of the law catching up with anybody. Uh, the law catching up with anybody, whether in Parliament or otherwise, and I'm talking about Article 117, which has some level of restriction that does not allow criminal processes coming from outside of the Parliament to be served on members. I think we need to take a second look into that. And one of my favorite ones, yes, we have said that ex gratia should be a thing of the past, will be a thing of the past. Necessarily, I think it's very crucial. And then yes, we've said here that ROPA should be implemented so that our colleagues in the diaspora can also vote. Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora can also vote. And a cap on political spending or campaign spending. And by all means, let's push for a review and then the passing of the affirmative bill in Parliament. Then there's a few other things that we have on here. We do have something quite interesting, which is a national blacklist database, which is largely a database that if you've ever been involved in any criminal activity, convicted or charged with any criminal activity, and this extends to corruption, this also extends to sexual abuses and all that, that your name would be on this national database and everybody can access that database. But it has a different reason also why we want to establish something like this. And that is that if you go out there and you're living in a new neighborhood, you can also check your neighbors out, see if you're living close to a pedophile. Because pedophiles need to know that, if you're going to take those actions, you should also be worried that you'll be pretty much cut away from society, because everybody will know that this is who you are and this is what your capabilities are. But it will also ensure that for employers, if you're employing somebody, you know that you're not employing a criminal who has just run off from criminal activity up in one of the northern regions and has come down to the southern belt just to hide away from being chased from the northern region and vice versa. So this is a national database that would be helpful to everybody, and would ensure that it serves as a motivation for people who intend to indulge in criminal activities to realize that you don't only get caught, you will also have your life quite curtailed or quite restricted in the way you engage with the public or society for at least 5 years. And I think that's something very necessary. And we do want to give more powers to the or more autonomy again, restore the Public Services Commission to do its job well, which is to go out there and look for the best suited Ghanaians to be employed in certain roles within the public sector. As it is now, it has largely been crippled by consecutive political governments that have come and gone. And then we have something for ensuring that value for money happens for all our spendings. Now, and this is something I have been very serious about as an auditor, somebody with an audit background. More often than not in our public services, what tends to happen is that when money doesn't get spent well, we only get to know after the money has actually been spent. And so what we are trying to do with the Value for Money program across the public sector, MMDAs, is to ensure that we have some form of parameters for every public spending, such that for you to be able to spend a certain amount, you must be able to give the strategic justification for making that spending, the financial justification, the social justification. In other words, what social benefit would it derive, and whether in carrying out that project, the social benefit would affect a greater majority of the population or a few. And my favorite, it must, you must give commercial justification. In other words, if this was a commercial entity, would we have the sense to spend that kind of money in the manner in which we wish to spend it? And so these are things we want to put in place to ensure that money doesn't just get spent. We saw the episode of what happened with the sports ministry. They went on there to the, I think it was the African Cup or something, spent some humongous amount of money, came back, couldn't account for anything, and it's what, 2 or 3 years now, nothing has been heard. And this is not just, that incident, it's happened over and over again. And so for us, this is something we want to put in place to ensure that the horses don't leave the stable before we start crying wolf. This would ensure that we check the spending and the value that is to be derived from those spending even before the money gets to be spent. And we do have an intention to have a proper citizen consumer protection body. I know there is a privately run consumer protection body, but it is limited in its funding. For that matter, it's limited in its scope of work it can do. We do think consumers are least protected in this country, and something we want to ensure gets done. And so it might even be an issue of collaboration with the existing, or we might look at other ways of expanding and covering every area of consumer interaction with the commercial sector or businesses. And then there's a big program we want to run, which is the asset optimization program and the asset management program. There are two big things. One of them is largely to carry out an audit across the entire country and find out all the assets that belong to this the government of Ghana, those that are being wrongly being used by individuals, those that are lying waste on which we are still spending money, those that have been incomplete and are still being used for personal gains. We want to have a stock of every asset that belongs to Ghana. And by so doing, we want to be able to consolidate and determine what we still need to hold on and continue spending money on, what is becoming a waste on government budget, what we need to let go, and therefore trim down the way we spend money unnecessarily. This is going to also be crucial for ensuring that we safeguard those assets that are viable and valuable to us, rather than let them just waste away. So these are things that we very critically thought about, not the things you hear other anyway. But there's also something we're doing around the optimization, which is largely, now if you notice, every public institution wants to own their own building. For what I don't for the life of me understand, that is not how public sector is run. My people, that is so not how public sector is run. Public sector is not about ensuring that every institution has its own building. And so you go into all these institutions that they have this 5-story, you don't even know where they get the money from. They go into buy this 5-story, build this 3 stories, 7 stories, and then they only occupy a segment of it. And the property market is so choked, so they can't even rent out the other sections that they are not occupying. And I've been to several buildings like that. The buildings are just lying waste. And you ask about it, they'll tell you this one belongs to Smith, this one belongs to this public entity, this one belongs to that. We do need some level of optimization. In other words, we need to determine which are not being used, which are being underutilized, and determine how to have full utilization of some of these assets. Otherwise, we're going to continue spending money we don't maintain well, and so we need to relook at the way we do some of these things. So as you can begin to see, we are, or the kind of government we want to run is all about efficiency. It's all about cutting down on waste as much as possible and driving efficiency as much as possible. Efficiency needs to be driven. Look, one of the things I was saying to a colleague who works at one of the ministries, I went into their building, vast building, not not a ministry, but one of the parastatals. I went into their building, huge building, floors left unutilized, and I was asking, so we have young entrepreneurs struggling for space. I'm not joking. This is not a political gimmick. We have young entrepreneurs who are struggling for space, just space that they can sit and work and create a life for themselves. They are struggling to get space. They can't rent space. And here is space not being occupied, that is just sitting there, that is just wasting away. And every single year, that young entrepreneur who is begging for space will probably pay some tax. That tax is what is paying for the wasted space out there. And so, we need to rethink some of these things drastically, not the usual rhetoric, people talking. And no, that we need to get serious with the way we run this country. Very serious with the way we run this country. And so those are some of the things we are thinking about in terms of our asset optimization agenda. And I do want you to read further. There's a lot of interesting things there, but very doable things that we don't want to overlook in there. We'll talk about ethics within the public sector to be very strongly enforced, have performance contracts with every single person who works within the public sector, so that we can begin to call people to accountability. You don't just get up and expect that at the end of the month you will get paid. Yes, you might get paid, but be rest assured that we want to be ensuring that you are delivering what is required of you. You are delivering what we are paying you for. It's for Ghanaian people, and we have to ensure that it is being spent well and accounted for properly. Throughout my entire working life, every single 6 months, I had to go through a performance review. And woe betide you if at any point in that 6 months process, your performance was dropping below, because that's what they are paying you for. And so we have the right to ensure that we check people to see whether or not they are delivering what they are supposed to be delivering. Basana will also make sure that when somebody goes on a course that we pay for as a public, they're not just going on a course because it's a reward, which is what we do now. They are going on the course. I can tell you that because I used to be a lecturer in public financial management. Okay, if people are going on a course, they shouldn't be going on a course simply because it's a reward system. They should be going on a course because it is required as part of their development to gain those new skills or gain those new expertise. Not because somebody has worked in a place for X number of years and therefore we are sending him out to get on a course. No. So very interesting things in there that I would like you to take the time to read. And we are very serious about transforming the police service and giving it the capacity it deserves to be able to deliver well. I want to see more young people with computer skills go into the police service so they can help with our cyber unit. I want to see more young people studying criminology so we can have some really deep investigative units so that crimes don't just go unsolved and then all we hear is that we don't have the capacity. I want to see police people walking within the communities and forming bonds with society so that they themselves have become a check on themselves. The fact that they know that they are in the public eye 24/7 also means that they have to behave differently. And also to structure the way we do employ or the way we recruit or bring into office the IGP. And that is another exciting thing I think you should read under our section for, how do we call it, institutional reform. I do insist you read it. So, I'm going to go through a few of your comments now and then react. And if anybody wants to actually join the show, you want to actually take part in the show, just raise your hand and type it in there. We'll bring it to the show. I don't know if my technical team can do that, but I'm just putting them on the spot now. So let me go through a few of your comments and see if I can react to some of them. Della says, time really no day. Yeah, Charlie, time no day. The whole thing we do for this country, their time no day. So we've done 35 minutes. I don't want us to go beyond 45 minutes. We try to keep it short and simple. What can we get some of your manifesto? You've been answered. It is online. A number of people have provided the links. Thank you to everybody who is supporting by providing the links. Yip YLP Ghana says, congratulations for how far you have come in this journey. Well, it is not me alone. It is you and I. It is everybody out there who has been supporting. People have been tremendously supportive. Individuals, Ghanaians, all walks of life, all age groups have been very, very supportive of our agenda. And I can tell you there are some tremendous things happening in the hinterlands that you are not aware of. You'll be very, very surprised at things that are happening. You know, every single day doesn't go by without people calling from different areas to let us know that we've got their support. So rest assured that we are not just doing this for child's play. We are a serious group of people trying to rescue this country from this duopoly that we've had. Killing, you know, the prospects of this country for this number of years. Okay. Tijani says, I always believe in progressive. I hope you believe in that too, Mr. Gane. Yes, I am a believer in the progressive agenda. I have always tried to be progressive. Continuity is key. Yes, Abigail, so you're talking about the long-term development plans that will ensure that continuity. Amidu Sanunu. Mr. Amidu, good evening. How are you? Says, hello, our incoming leader. This is Akosombo. Amidu, I salute you, sir. I salute you. You do also make me proud. Thank you for believing in what is progressive and what is right. Age is very important in ruling, especially considering the rapid changing world. Yes, Abigail, you are right. I totally believe that. I have always said that, you know, what a 40-year-old can do, you know, 30 years back is not the same as what a 40-year-old can do today. It is pretty much what a 35-year-old, what a 30-year-old, what a 20-something-year-old can do today. So we do need to recognize some of these things. But you see a lot of reasons why politicians are afraid to talk about this age thing is that, you know, they haven't really been grooming the young generation well, and so they are afraid. They are not just afraid. It's not just afraid of the age. They are afraid of the fact that the people we're talking about to take over, they have not groomed. And that's something we want to do differently, is to have a succession plan. For young people who are serious about politics and who want to be groomed to become the best this country can offer politically. Ivandi Evans, I greet you too, Ivandi. I am doing well, and I pray you are too. Mr. Stanley, and the only agenda now is to make Marricke win this election. Ghana deserves better. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Stanley. And that is what needs to happen. And by the way, look, by the way, help us to move this agenda forward all the way to December. I am politely asking you. Our Momo number is on the line. You know, wherever you are globally, whether you are abroad or you are in Ghana, you can support us. It doesn't matter, excuse me, how much it is. 1 cedi, 2 cedis, 3 cedis, $1, $2, $3, $5, $100, $30, $500, $1,000, 1,000 cedis, whatever it is that you can help us with, please throw your weight behind us. This what we're doing. Yes, we are not even spending a quarter of what, you know, the big players are spending, but we are being very, very efficient in how we spend. And I've always said that is the difference you have to see between somebody who would eventually run this country properly or not, is that if during your campaign there are two choices of politics that can always get done. One is you spend a lot of money, spread a lot of money, give money to people, and they do things for you. You have no care in the world because you don't have to touch anything yourself. And that is exactly how these people would run the government when they come into office. Borrow a lot, spend a lot. Whereas if you have a team that has very little but has been extremely prudent and extremely efficient at spending what they have, and almost matching with almost nothing, it can tell you also that these are the people who will be serious about how they spend public money when they get into office. And so let's be mindful of this little signs we see and not vote for people and then subsequently come back and say we regret it. No, the signs are here now. If you see people who want to run for office and all they do is to take monies that they have accumulated whilst they are in office and spreading it around, in droves and drives for people to just, take and swallow, that tells you that when they come into office, it is not going to be different. It is not going to be different. I assure you of that. We've seen it over and over again. So for some of us who are showing signs that we are capable of using the minimal that we have to achieve the most, that is a sign to you as citizens. That is a sign to you as fellow Ghanaians that, you know what, some people have an understanding of what it takes to be able to manage, our resources more prudently. And so let's take a cue from some of these things going forward. So our Momo is out there, please. The number is 5555000333. Again, it's 5555000333. The number is on your screen, across the screen. Please, give us something, so I don't want to say sow a seed, but support us with something, donate something. It doesn't matter how small it is. You may see it as small, we see it as value. So donate something. And if you're abroad, it is possible to use, whatever app is out there. Wave is as an app that you can use. The Wave money app is something you can use to send money directly to our Momo account. And we'll be very, very, very grateful. You've seen how we've run our campaign. It's been very efficient. It's been decent. We've been very focused about progressive agendas. We're not the rhetoric. We are not the type to go out insulting. That is not our business. That's for Kafra. But that's not why we are here. We are here for an agenda. We are here to get a job done. That is what we have been focused on, and that is what we are asking that you look out for. And push us going forward. So let's have your support in finances as well. If you want to give something, be generous, be gracious to us, and help us push the agenda forward. And we're grateful. I am always very grateful. So thank you for that. 100 cities, $100, 100 pounds, 100 euros. It goes far. Believe you me, it goes very far. $200, $500. It goes far. It really does go far for what we're doing. And so make history with us. And especially if you are in the diaspora, listen, you might not be able to make it back in time to vote because ROPA has not been fully rolled out. You might not even be able to vote where you are. So, the best you can do to also push the change of the status quo is to support us with your finances. You can spend $100 on a group of friends and burgers in no time. And we are saying, give it to us and write your name in the annals of making history. So support us with something, whatever it is, whatever, $50, $100, $200, $300. I'm sure whatever you can afford, $20 even. Excuse me. Excuse me. Help us in whatever way you can. All right, help us in whatever way you can. Every little helps, and it's these little drops of water that make a mighty ocean to push our agenda forward. So maybe there may be even somebody out there who's deciding, you know what, let's help you. Let's get a few friends together. Let's help you. Look, do get a few friends together, and if you need to invite me to a Zoom conference, invite me, and let's engage. See how best you can help our agenda to push forward, and that's all we're asking. So we're grateful for the support. We're grateful for everything, and for those of you who have joined me here, thank you so much. Yes, Abigail, you say it's very important. It's time to audit Ghana's asset. Yes, something we have thought about. And Mr. Ganata, a very ardent follower of our agenda, supporter actually also, a believer in the progressive agenda that we are trying to roll out. Good evening, Mr. Gan. Could you explain in simple language what a separation of fiduciary and prudential duties of the Bank of Ghana is? Okay, so Mr. Ganata, basically we are saying that the Bank of Ghana is the person who sort of designs the framework within which financial institutions operate within this country. But it is also the one who determines whether somebody is obeying the rules within those frameworks or not. And it's almost as though you have one person being the judge, the jury, the prosecutor, and the executioner. And what we are saying is that we saw what happened within the financial sector, for example. It is, for example, this is a basic example I want to give. It's example, a rule for Bank of Ghana that, the banking supervision department is responsible for ensuring that they check the banking sector or banking institutions to ensure that they have the correct adequacy ratios on their financial statements in terms of their holdings and all that. And eventually we found that some banks collapsed because of these very things. And the question that has never really been asked was, what is the role of the same unit that sits within the Bank of Ghana? And what we are saying is that some of these units need to be separated so that somebody who is not also making the rules can enforce those rules, and not the same person making the rules, enforcing the rules. And if it doesn't actually enforce the rules, it cannot judge itself. So basically, that is what we mean by separating the prudential and the fiduciary duties of the Bank of Ghana. Okay, so Wisdom the Water sound programs. The asset optimization is key to our collective goal against private use. Yes, ownership and eventual back rentals. Yeah. To the state at exorbitant prices. I totally agree with you. Elmina, 1 million price once 3 years. Okay, I'm not sure I understand that, but Tijani, thanks for your comments. So there are a lot of Zongo boys who are very good with computer software, but because there are no jobs, they are engaged in cyber fraud. Well, let me tell you something. Marie, greetings. Thanks for joining us. Ebenezer says, I agree. So let me just respond to Tijani. See, one of the interesting things we are running in terms of, our manifesto, in terms of job creation, is that we are creating a freelancing platform. We've already designed the architecture for that platform because it was something I was intending to build when I was on my way in transit here from the UK. So we do have an architecture already to build a freelancing platform where people who have IT skills can get on there, register themselves free of charge, and be able to pick up jobs from all over Africa, all over Ghana, and not necessarily be even employed. And you get paid, your withholding taxes are deducted as source automatically, and everybody's happy. You can be in your house, look on there and see what jobs are being advertised by employers. And this also helps employers because you don't need to employ somebody full-time to be able to use their services. And also it helps the young people who have these skills but are not using it because it means you can also offer your services and get something to be doing whilst you're doing other things. And it's flexible. which means you can work at any time of the day, any time of the year, wherever you want to work. And everybody is happy. You know, that's how economies are developed. And so these are very creative ways we are looking at ensuring that young people who have the skills are employed. And let me just say that another advantage is that even for those who have full-time jobs who work from 9 to 5, if you work from 9 to 5, at the end of 5 p.m., you become quite redundant. And what we are saying is that on the platforms such as these, you would be able to go back in there and look for jobs that have been posted, things that you can quickly do within the next 1 hour, and do a side hustle and get an extra CD or an extra tower in your pocket. And so these are creative ways we are doing to ensure that, you know, people are by themselves even getting employed one way or another. All right. So so here we are. So I'm gonna end it here, and I want to say a big thank you. A big thank you to every single one of you. Mr. Dako, thank you for your contribution. Mr. Ato, thank you for your contribution. God bless you all for throwing your weight behind us. I'm very grateful. I'm deeply grateful to all of you who are supporting the agenda. So God bless you richly. And Mr. Tijani, I'm glad I have been able to explain that to you. So we are very progressive. We are looking at all sectors for young people to get progressive. This is not, we're not doing the whole, yeah, let me not go into that. Well, we want to focus on what we want to deliver to the Ghanaian young people, the Ghanaian youth. And we have done a session here on employment, and so hopefully that covers all of that. But a big thank you to everybody. God bless you all. And I'm deeply grateful. In the following weeks, please, let's keep pushing the agenda. Keep telling your friends, keep telling family, keep sharing notices you have about us. Keep influencing them with your trust that they have in you, and keep telling them that there is a brighter future for this country with the Ghana for Ghana agenda. You've read the manifesto. You know that is a fact. You know we are not here to just play ball with just, you know, the political ball, the rhetoric. We're not here for the rhetorics. We're not here for the repetitions. We are not here for the comparative politics. We are here to move this country forward. And if you feel Ghana does deserve better, I want to be your president. If you feel that you want to see the end of the political vindictiveness, such that when this party comes into power, businesses that are affiliated or aligned with another party, everybody else goes underground. When this party comes into power, everybody else goes underground. If you want to see the end of all that, then I want to be your president. If you want to see a situation where, as a young people, if you come out of school, you know you are being well equipped, you are confident of either finding a job or creating one by yourself, then I want to be your president. And if you're an old person, you feel that, you know, you've not voted right in the past, and you want to leave a true legacy for your children and your children's children, you want to come out on pension and not be afraid that life is going to be miserable, then I want to be your president. And if you are an international business person and you feel that the only reason why you have every reason to want to do business in Ghana, but you cannot because of the levels of corruption, then please, I want to be your president too. And so let's join hands together, everybody, and let's make history happen. All right, we can do this, and we must do this. And let me just say finally, and then I'll end here, is that, look, we're not doing this because the statistics and the odds are in our favor. We're doing it because it needs to get done. That's why we're doing it. We're not here for the statistics. We're doing it because it needs to get done. And so I call on every Ghanaian, please, we don't have another 27 years to waste. We don't have another 27 years to play mediocrity. We don't have another 27 years to go on our knees and pray and say, Nyami beye. Already, Nyami wayadada. Wayadada. Yena yen voti ye. Ntimi pamucho ay madakuku na me. It's not God anymore. It is us who need to make this nation great and strong. God has already blessed us 100 times over. 100 times over. It is up to us to make this country great and strong. That's our job. That's our job. So a big thank you again. Have a fruitful holiday tomorrow. God bless you and God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation very great and very, very strong. Thank you again and shalom. God bless you. Thank you.
My name is Marricke Kofi Gane, and like you, I used to be in the diaspora. I've tasted everything in the diaspora. I went in there as a chartered accountant, but found myself also working every other job. I worked as a cleaner, I've worked as a security guard, I've worked at the construction site, I've worked at restaurants, and then of course at the end of the day, I found where I needed to be at. I've had my fair share of the diaspora. But one thing gets me, as I'm sure it gets you too, it's the reality that when you're in the diaspora, your heart is back home and your mind tells you, stay where you are. That's one of the reasons why I am running for the presidency of this country, Ghana. It's to be able to build a country that works for every single one of us. A country that you can be proud of, to either be here or be there and enjoy the best of both worlds. A country where you don't have to know somebody in order to come back and succeed. We want to build a country that you don't even need to leave before you can make the best of yourself. That's why I'm running for office. Unfortunately, we have to come up against people who have had years and years of piling war chests of money, some stolen even, for their campaigns. But I am asking you, I'm asking that if you can, this month, the end of month, the month after that, if you could just support what we're doing, this agenda, the Ghana Deserves Better agenda, the Ghana for Ghana agenda, with just $10, 10 pounds, 10 euros, wherever you are. $10 is all I ask. 10 euros is all I ask. This month, 10 pounds sterling is all I ask. Support this agenda so we can build a Ghana that works for every single one of us, not just a few of us. This is a Ghana for Ghana campaign. Let's make a new Ghana happen. God bless you.
Riding on a wine press.